Google just dropped their new Pixel lineup, Pixel 10, Pixel 10 Pro, and of course, the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. Now, I spent some time checking out everything, and I've got some thoughts. Let's dig in. So we're gonna start off with the Pixel 10 family, and at the heart of all of them is the new Google Tensor G5 chip. And Google's really leaned into making this chip about AI performance, so it's faster, more efficient, and it's designed around Gemini, which is their AI system. So all of these phones get access to these really convenient features that we're gonna talk about in a second. So first up, let's talk about the new Pixel 10. The Pixel 10 starts at $799 and largely looks the same as the previous version, but we've got some new colors. We're looking at indigo, frost, lemongrass, and obsidian. And interestingly, it's named indigo, but it's got like a really blue feel to it. Honestly, it's probably my favorite one. Now for the Pro models, similar to the Pixel 10, these largely look the same as last year, but we've got some different colors. So with the Pros, we've got this new moonstone and jade. Moonstone is probably my favorite, but you also have obsidian and porcelain. And I don't know what it is, but the Pro models just felt really premium in my hands this year. They felt like really solid devices. I mean, the 10 feels great too. They're all using like this durable aerospace grade materials and all that. They're IP68 water and dust resistant. They've got Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2. So all of the durability things you want to hear in 2025, they're there, but the feel of the Pros, I don't know what it is, but those felt really good. Now, I'm not gonna go through the entire list of specs for each of these devices, but I'll throw them up on the screen and I'll let you guys know what are my call outs. So first for me, definitely the peak brightness. 3000 nits for the Pixel 10 and 3300 for the Pro models. Really bright displays. So you take these phones outside, sun beaming on your phone, you're not gonna have any problem seeing your content at all. Battery's also impressive to me, with the Pixel 10 being pretty much 5000 milliamp hours and the Pixel 10 Pro XL having 5200, which is huge. And the 10 and 10 Pro can get to 55% in 30 minutes with a 30-watt charger, while the XL can get to 70% in 30 minutes with a 45-watt charger. But the most impressive out of all of this is that Google is rating 30 plus hours of battery life. Now, while we're talking about charging, something else worth calling out is that these have support for Qi 2 wireless charging, so that's new, but there's also this new Pixel Snap. So basically think of what Apple did with MagSafe and think about it for the Pixels. That lets you get access to the Qi 2 wireless charging speeds, 15 watts for the 10 and 10 Pro, 25 watts for the XL. But to me, this is dope because Google dropped a bunch of cool Pixel Snap accessories. We got to see a few in person. They look really solid, but it also opens the door to using all of the MagSafe accessories that have existed for the iPhone. You'll now be able to use those on these new Pixel devices as well. Now, cameras look solid across the board, but something worth calling out here is Google's new AI feature called Super Res Zoom. Now, this is an interesting feature and one of those things that really makes use of that Tensor G5 chip. So basically, you'll be able to zoom in, and as you're doing like these super zooms, which is beyond the normal optical range, so you're really zooming in up to 100 times with the Pro models, you're able to take a picture, but what it'll do is it'll take that picture and use AI to identify the pixels within that shot and then fill it in with the details that are missing. Now, at first I wasn't sure about this. I wasn't sure if it was taking a picture of something far away and then you fill it in with like whatever it thinks the object is. But instead of just filling it in with like some random version of what it's taking a picture of, it's actually looking at the photo and doing what we've seen in all of those detective rooms where they say, zoom in, enhance. That is essentially what we've got now. And from what I've seen, it works pretty well on objects. Words, I'm not so sure about, but one interesting note is that it doesn't work on people. So it'll enhance everything in the image except for people. So someone from far away, their face is still gonna be blurred. It's not gonna work on fixing the details of anyone it detects in the photo. So for those concerned about privacy, the AI here doesn't work on humans. So I got to mess around with that for a little bit, but I'm curious to see how it's going to work like in the real world. So Real in Life coming soon. Make sure you're subscribed so you can see that as soon as we get our hands on it. And one of the most important specs, like I mentioned before, is that these are all powered by Google's Tensor G5 chip. So they're all going to be capable of doing the same things. Will be hardware limitations between like the Pro and the 10, but they're all going to be really capable, especially when it comes to these new AI features. So a big one here is called Magic Q. Now, this is basically Google's way of giving you a helping hand with AI, no matter what kind of task you might be working on. And one interesting scenario that they showed was needing to call your airlines for an upcoming trip. So let's say you get on the phone with United. With the Pixel 10s, it'll now, while you're on the phone, pull up all of the information about your upcoming flight and provide it right on the screen without you having to touch anything. So it presumes the context of that call by giving you that information that you would probably need to run to an email for like the confirmation number, the times, all that stuff. It pretty much just hands it to you so that it's readily available if the agent asks for it. Another scenario is like if a friend is asking you about the Airbnb details, it can automatically pull it up for you so that you can just send it right away without you having to look around for anything. And that is all done on device. So it's not going to the cloud, it's not being uploaded anywhere. It's just taking the context of the things and the different apps that you're using and just making all of the information readily available and easy to share and distribute. It is really cool. And honestly, it's part of what Google's been doing for a long time, right? Which is trying to add convenience to the user experience. And I think with this Magic Queue thing, it could really change the way somebody uses their smartphone. So that's what Magic Queue is all about. But they, of course, improved the Gemini integration. Now you can use Gemini to, instead of doing this singular step request, like find me a bunch of family-friendly restaurants, it can take it a step further, send the list that it finds to your family, and once you've got one picked, it can add it to your calendar and even give you a heads up on what time you need to leave the house or the office in order to make it on time. We're really getting close to the idea of the Google Assistant with the new Gemini integration across multiple applications, knowing the context of the things in your life, the things you're looking up and things you're booking. So for me, from a smartphone perspective, this is the direction we want the software to go, where it really feels smart. Smartphones are crazy as it is, but it's leveling up. And what's dope is that the Pro models get a year of the Google AI Pro plan. So you get basically like a free year of Google's best AI services and integration. So definitely a bonus there. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there's a bunch of other AI features, especially with like the camera. Take a burst of photos and pick the best face for everybody and put it in one. And that's not necessarily new, but now we have the ability to just have it do it automatically. We gotta test that out in the real day in the life. I'm curious what people think about AI altering photos. Let me know what your thoughts down below, but we're gonna keep this moving. And don't worry, I didn't forget, there's also the new Pixel 10 Pro Fold. Now with the Fold, you only get two color options. That's Moonstone and Jade. I feel like I'm a Moonstone guy now, so I'm not mad at that. My call outs, again, that 3000 nits of peak brightness on both displays here, definitely a good thing. Again, with the 30 hours of battery life and 50% in 30 minutes with a 30-watt charger. But here's what's interesting. We also have Pixel Snap on the Fold, and we also have wireless charging. So the Fold also supports Qi 2 wireless charging up to 15 watts. And I actually got to see this in person with one of Google's Pixel Snap accessories, their charging stand. What's impressive here is that with the Pixel Fold, you can actually have the entire display open, so you can have it unfolded and get access to that larger display, and you can use it as like a little side table display as you charge. So like you can look at your calendar, the time, that kind of stuff. That's actually a pretty good use for it, and it's just surprising because it's a larger device, but those Pixel Snap magnets are definitely strong enough to hold it up by that one side. Now, another call out for me are the cameras. So we've got a triple camera system over here. I'm not crazy about the specs on these guys. I wished we would have seen a camera system similar to what we have on the Pro and Pro XL, but this is leaning more towards what we're seeing with like the Pixel 10. With it being the most expensive device, I would have liked to see the best cameras on here, similar to what we saw Samsung do with the Fold 7, at least the main sensor. Throw it on there, but we'll see how the pictures come out once we get our hands on them. Now, because the Fold also has the G5 chip, you're getting all of those AI features as well. And one of the cool features that I saw on the Fold that's available on all of them is actually edit with ask photos. So essentially you can just take a photo of something and just ask AI to make it better. I also really want to use that made you look feature, which is perfect for taking pictures of kids. I haven't used it yet with my boys, so I don't know why I've waited for so long, but I'll definitely use it with the new one because they've added some new animations and they actually look pretty hilarious for kids. Now, a really huge call out, considering that this is a foldable device, is the fact that it's IP68 water and dust resistant. So on a foldable, that's huge. So now we don't have to worry so much about things getting into like the hinge or like the little nooks and crannies of the foldable. That is awesome for this device. Not to mention, like, Google has worked on this new gearless hinge, and that gearless hinge is supposed to be twice as durable as the previous version. So durability, a huge component here, and with a device that has so many moving parts, that's a focus you want the manufacturer to have. So that is the entire Pixel lineup coming this year. Lots of reviews coming up soon. Peace.